Welcome back, folks. I'm Frizz, and today I'd like to take some time to talk about hands. After all, we spend so much time talking about feats on this channel. That being spelled F-E-A-T-S, you weirdos. Incredibly bad opening line out of the way, hands are actually pretty interesting in Pathfinder 2e, since I'm of the opinion that what you're doing with your hands is way more important in Pathfinder 2e when compared to Pathfinder 1st Edition or D&D 5e. What I mean by that is that there are tons and tons of different things that you can be doing with your hands. The most obvious consideration is what you're holding. There are reasons to use one one-handed weapon with a free hand, or one one-handed weapon as shield, one big two-handed weapon, or even just two one-handed weapons. There are trade-offs and motives for every option, and this isn't just limited to martial characters who just want to hit people with sticks. There are all kinds of things to hold in 2e, and also a good amount of reasons to not want to hold anything. Spellcasters are also 100% included in this video's subject. Unlike in other editions, casting a spell with somatic components, those being the components that require hand motions, no longer require you to have a free hand. If you've got swords in both hands as a wizard, you can draw arcane runes in the air with your sword. This means that unless you're going to be wanting to cast spells with material components, spellcasters can use their hands as a resource just like everyone else. But what are the different things that you can do with your hands, mainly the common ones? Well, the first and most universal option is shields. Unlike in other editions, shields don't require any kind of proficiency to get a boost to your survivability. Shields don't do anything just for holding them, though. You have to spend an action to raise them to get a boost to your AC. And everybody wants boost to their AC. While not everyone has the ability to use the shield block reaction to reduce the damage that they take, getting a bonus to your armor class by putting a big sheet of wood or metal between you and danger is pretty much always a good idea. You can also get creative with flavoring how you're doing it. Just because your wizard is using a shield doesn't mean that they have to look like they're enjoying using a shield. The next super common use for hands is weapons. Every weapon in the game requires a different amount of hands to use, and a weapon's handedness is one of the most important factors in really how every weapon is made. One-handed weapons are almost certainly going to do less damage than their two-handed counterparts, but they offer up a lot of versatility with a free hand. So, using a one-handed weapon means that your damage is going to be a bit lower per hit, but you can use another weapon in that hand to get more versatility, or use a shield for more survivability, or really just have anything else in that hand. And sometimes you don't even want to have anything in that other hand. Having a hand free allows for you to have much easier access to interacting with the environment. Do you want to open a door? That's just a single action, but if you've got a two-handed weapon in your hands, then you're going to have to spend another action to put your hand back onto the sword. If you're interested in grappling, tripling, or shoving an opponent, you either need to have a free hand, which is honestly not super hard to manage, or have a weapon with specific traits that allow you to do that. Also, never underestimate how useful it is to have a free hand to pull out and use consumable items like healing potions or scrolls. Your allies bleeding out on the ground will thank you later for keeping your hand free whenever you save your life with a healing potion. While I have been talking about how nice having a free hand is, two-handed weapons more than make up for how they use up both of your hands. Really, with how striking runes add additional weapon damage dice, the larger your weapon damage dice is, the more of an impact those runes will have. Plus, two-handed weapons often have really fantastic traits like reach, and all in all, two-handed weapons are absolutely insane damage dealers. Seriously, seeing someone power attack at level 4 to deal 3d12 damage is disgusting. While having weapons is nice and all, spellcasters have some other things on their mind, and really, basically every spellcasters want to be holding either a staff or a wand at basically all times. Staves and wands open up tons of versatility for spellcasters, and as I say a good amount on this channel, versatility is the main strength of every spellcaster, so staffs and wands help that. If you've got a staff of fire, then you don't need to worry about preparing fire spells for the day anymore, or even learning them if you're a spontaneous spellcaster. And if you're holding a wand of true strike in one hand, then that is super useful because you can use that to boost the effectiveness of any attack roll spell that you want to cast. Really, staffs and wands are incredibly good, and I would really recommend trying to get them whenever you can and giving them out to your players if you're a GM. While I've talked about the main things that are generally great to hold, there are bound to be tons more that I can't touch. Held magical items are their own separate category of gear in Pathfinder 2e, and there's always going to be situations where you want to have those in your hands instead of anything else that I mentioned. Really, what you have in your hands is actually an interesting decision in Pathfinder 2e, rather than being an afterthought. It's not crazy or anything, and it isn't very complicated to learn, but you can get a lot out of paying attention to what you're holding in your hands in Pathfinder 2e, and I adore that. Thanks for watching. I know that this is a pretty niche topic, but it's a bit surprising how impactful what you do with your hands is in 2e. Can you folks think of anything that I've missed? Let me know in a comment down below, and while you're down there, please consider subscribing or joining up as a member. It really helps me out when people join as members and encourages me to keep on making these videos even better. But regardless, until I see you next, live a wonderful life.